Hi, I'm Dr. Gaby Cora at the National Publicity Summit with Kathryn Gruhn. Kathryn, welcome. How are you?
I am fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Well, there are so many applications to speech pathologists. For example, my husband is a neurologist. He works a lot with people with epilepsy. And I know that on a regular basis, he will refer patients to a speech pathologist, depending on what's needed. But it's part of the integrative intervention. What are the areas where a speech pathologist can really help people that people would normally not know? Just like by a raise of hands, you realize that no one had seen a speech pathologist on TV. And really, many people don't realize how much of your services, we as physicians would try to bring into a patient's care. So if you could tell us a bit of, the epilepsy case is one. What other cases would you usually find that you would like to share with people?
Okay. Now, one of them is called apraxia. Apraxia is a motor planning disorder. In other words, they want to say the correct sound, but their brain just isn't able to do that. And so that's where a neurologist works with a speech pathologist. And of course, you know the area of autism. That is very much a team approach. You have the psychologist, the psychiatrist, the neurologist, the occupational therapist, the physical therapist, the educator, and the speech pathologist. And it's very important to have a team effect because you're working with behaviors. And everybody has a different style and how they view a disorder.
Just a second. Excuse me. Do you mind keeping it low? Because we're recording. Thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, let's pick it from, just move on with the concept. It's okay.
So another thing, other than apraxia and autism, you have some what we call oral motor disorders. Their tongue, their lips, their facial features don't move in the right way. And so we have to make sure that brain is firing correctly, and that's when we would send them to a neurologist to make sure that oral motor ability, physically they're able to do what they're supposed to do.
How would you work with someone who's brought to your attention?
Okay, the first thing you do is do a full assessment. And the assessment is going to cover all areas of communication. So you're going to first make sure all the articulators, and that's your mouth, your teeth, your tongue, your lips, are working correctly. Then you're going to check to make sure they have all sounds present, okay? Then you're going to do a language analysis, and that would make sure that they're able to use a vocabulary equivalent to their age, grammar equivalent to their age, and we call that syntax, but I'm trying to stay away from the jargon.
But this is great because you're giving us all this information in a way that everyone can understand, and at the same time you're educating us about what the real words are that we use professionally.
Super. And the one thing that we don't realize, social interaction is called pragmatics. So, as you know, you're talking, I'm talking, you're talking. That's as simple as turn taking. And they actually need to have that assessed to make sure the proper social interaction is happening. And
this is so important. I'm sorry to interrupt you. For example, in autistic kids, or in kids who have grown with some Asperger's background, and it's those social cues where they may not realize that now it's the other person's turn to speak, and that I'm not going to just take over the whole conversation. So these are great cues where they may not do it because they don't realize of the cues, but they are more than open to practice them.
Correct.
So it's great that you can give them that opportunity to say, well, now, look, you may have been speaking for 30 seconds. Let the other person talk. What would you do in that case?
So what you have to do with an autistic child or an Asperger's is they basically memorize social interaction. And if you catch them early enough, we also have them memorize emotions. When you're like this, they learn that those eyebrows, that means mad, or you're like this, surprised. And there's over 400 emotions that they can memorize. So they understand by looking at your face, they'll say, oh, are you angry? Or Are you upset with me? So we teach them to memorize that emotion. Where you and I, we learn this naturally.
You do it intuitively, right?
Yes, correct. So when we take children, plus we teach them that they don't just learn from only hearing words. We look at all the senses. Maybe they need visual cues. So we make a little calendar that has little pictures on it. When it's time to go to the bathroom, when it's time to eat. The bathroom may be a sink. When it's time to eat, maybe a spoon or a fork. And depending on their ability and vision ability, whether we need to use real objects or pictures, we do that through the whole analysis and the whole evaluation. And then we also find out, do they have fluent speech? Sometimes refer to that as normal disfluency if they're a young child, or are they a stutterer? And that determination comes when other specific events occur. Did you know Joe Biden, our vice president, is a fluent stutterer?
Oh, wow, interesting.
Amazing, isn't it?
How did he work on it?
Well, he had a therapist, and he learned to get through the process of his stutters.
Interesting.
In fact, he won the award from the American Speech and Hearing Association this last year, the Annie Glenn Award. John Glenn's wife was a severe stutterer, and now she's a professional speaker.
There you go.
So it's really interesting. We also analyzed the voice. Is the pitch the right level? Or is somebody talking way up here? And we see, are you talking at optimum pitch? Because you strain your voice. Are you using proper diaphragm and airflow? We also look at, so we've covered articulation, language, fluency, voice, and we cover swallowing. When somebody has had a stroke and they can't swallow, this is also when we use the radiologist and the neurologist. Okay, so we get that CAT scan or that MRI and that modified barium swallow, which tells us that he's swallowing normally and not choking. We strengthen those muscles, or we have techniques that they can use to help them swallow.
As exercises, excellent. Is there anything else you'd like to add? And I know we could talk here forever.
For days, okay? But I need to talk to you about my book, that are my whole child development program, My Baby Compass. And what I found, there's much that we as specialists know that really parents should know. So what I did is I put together 3 manuals, okay? We have on the manuals birth to 2, okay? We have then 2 to 4, all right? And we have 4 to 7.
Beautiful.
And the reason this is so unique is because I have taken these manuals and made little cheat sheets, okay? Or the parents call them cliff notes.
Cliff notes.
Within 15 minutes, a parent can determine if their child is progressing normally.
So this is a quick assessment.
A quick
that
assessment.
Parents can try to figure out if they are matching their gut feeling with their kid.
Here's the skills on one side, and then if they're not, activities to bring the skills out the other. And the reason we call it My Baby Compass is I cover all these areas of development.
Like you have here, speech and language, hearing, cognitive and reasoning, physical, vision, and social and emotional. So really the
whole gamut.
Absolutely.
And the reason this is important for a parent is 99% of the time, parent report will determine if a child is delayed.
Yes.
And how many parents have a written, recorded evaluation of their child?
Yes.
So if that child all of a sudden has an accident and he's in the hospital and he's in a coma and he comes out of the coma, here I have frantic parents and I say to them, how many words was he using at 18 months? Was he putting, and they both look at each other. The husband looks at the wife looks at the husband, and they are so emotionally distraught, they cannot give me accurate records.
Right.
So if I have it in the manual, if you look on chapter 3, where they will have a recorded history of their child. It's a checklist, so it's easy.
Lovely.
They just go through and they check it.
Lovely.
And that way they have a recorded history, and it's a win-win situation for everybody. And for those parents that like to do everything electronically, of course we have that CD that you can load down.
Yep. Wonderful.
Yes.
How can people get a hold of your My Baby Compass?
It is available either on my website at www.mybabycompass.com or at Amazon. And just type in books, My Baby Compass, and they'll come right up. And you can buy the books individually. You don't have to buy it as a kit, or you can get the whole kit. And this book has been #1 as a bestseller for baby shower presents.
Wow.
They
Absolutely.
love it.
That's lovely. How can people get a hold of you?
They can go to my website, and I have a contact form there, and then I will definitely get in touch with them.
Well, Kathryn, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.